Francis canonized Cardinal Newman during the Mass in Pisa San Pietro in the Vatican on 13th October 2019, along with 4 other blesseds, culminates as the crowning point in the journey of this great Anglican converted Catholic writer, poet, and philosopher, considered as one of the most predominant among the theologians of the modern age. His final ascent to the altar of veneration follows after Pope Francis on 12th February authorized the Congregation for the Causes of the Saints to publish a decree about the second miracle attributed to Cardinal Newman's intercession, related to the healing of a pregnant woman in Chicago, suffering from serious bleeding during her pregnancy, and who prayed to God for healing through Newman's intercession. In answer to her prayer, the bleeding stopped and her child was born normally. St. John Henry Newman, formerly an evangelical Oxford University academic and priest in the Church of England, was born on 21st February 1801 as the eldest of 6 children to John Newman and Jemima Fortunier in London. Right from his childhood, he had developed a great interest for reading the Bible. Newman experienced a lasting religious and spiritual conversion during 1st August to 21st December 1816. In the same year, he also took the decision to lead a single life of celibacy as a preparation for becoming a missionary. On 8th June 1817, Newman entered Trinity College, Oxford, as an undergraduate when he was barely 16. He was ordained an Anglican priest on 29th May 1825 and later became the vicar of St. Mary's Church, Littlemore, on 2nd February 1828. On 8th December 1832, Newman, along with Archdeacon Froude and his son Harold Ford, started on his historical journey to the Mediterranean, during which he wrote the popular hymn Lead, Kindly Light. He became a Catholic on 9th October 1845 and left Oxford on 23rd February 1846. The following year, on 30th May, he was ordained a Catholic priest and on his return to England established the English chapter of the Auditory of St. Philip Neri. At the request of Archbishop Paul Cullen of Armagh, who visited him on 18th July 1851, Newman undertook to establish the Catholic University of Dublin and accepted its rectorship. Pope Leo XIII made him a cardinal on 15th May 1879. The choice of his cardinalatial motto, Cor ad cor locutor, it means heart speaks to heart, is not only a pointer to his understanding of his Christian faith and its communication, but also summarizes the very core of his spiritual vision, heart's concern, and his ardent love for Christ and his church. Marking the end of a magnificent life, Newman died of pneumonia on 11th August 1890 at Birmingham Oratory. 8 days later, his body was buried in the cemetery at the Rednell Hill, Birmingham, at the country house of the Oratory. In 1991, Cardinal John Henry Newman was proclaimed venerable by Pope John Paul II and was later beatified by Pope Benedict XVI on 19th September 2010. Newman, as a preacher of forgotten truths, did not only rediscover the pristine beauty of Christian wisdom and its contemporary value, but also as a true Christian humanist, realizing the sentiments of the faithful and their real inner need, did placing before them as a means of a genuine spiritual renewal as well. It was unearthing the immense potentiality of this primitive treasure that he constantly tried to awaken their dormant spirits so that fruitfully making use of the sentiments of the spiritual aid of the church, they could form themselves into mature and believing Christians. In fact, he beckoned them to dig up their hidden Christian talents wrapped in napkins and make use of them for molding their minds. It is this awareness, along with this study of the Fathers, that moved him to speak of the Church as a visible communion with the Trinitarian, Christological, and apostolic structure, even much before Vatican II had begun to unearth the same ecclesial concepts. It also made him see in the ancient Church a blueprint for such a vision of universal holiness and communion as that would address the needs and signs of the times. Moreover, he also his university and parochial sermons frequently spoke about the idea of a collective holiness, akin to the concepts of universal call to holiness as developed in Lumen Gentium. Likewise, his defense and the insistence on laity's role has also to a large extent been effectively treated in the same document, and also in Apostolicum Aucto Citatum, the decree on the apostolate of the laity. Newman was aware that he had a specific mission and a prophetic role to play, not only just during his time but also for ensuing centuries as well. He was providentially called without realizing it himself to awaken within the Catholic Church of today what she must rediscover in order to reveal herself again to the world as the one true church which that world so badly needs now as ever. L. Boyer, Newman's Vision of Faith, A Theology for Times of Apostasy, Ignatius Press, San Francisco, 1986-16. Newman's devotion to the cause of the revealed religion, which he accepted wholeheartedly, was yet another outstanding feature of his life. As he tried to draw out its full and balanced content, he was also aware of his deficiencies and sought healing for his bleeding wounds. He did not succeed in many of his efforts, yet, as Dacian points out, history had vindicated him, and the Catholic movement of reform has hailed him as a prophet. He was always a herald of forgotten truths. Newman's attempt as a convert and as a theologian to bring along with him into the Catholic Church a critical spirit of the tradition of British philosophy in which he was formed, and the importance of theological debate and reflection along with self-criticism and self-reform is yet another major contribution to the field of Catholic theology. As Dulles observes, it was Newman's vocation and destiny to oppose the excesses of Roman centralization. At the same time, he was also highly critical of the complacency and self-exaltation of the Anglican system. He raised his voice against a dead and sluggish faith and warned against inconstancies in it as the most dangerous to the unformed Christian. And again, he spoke against those Christians who wrapped their many talents in a napkin and warned that a vain faith or mere knowledge about the salvific mysteries would never be able to save them. The privilege of being a Christian is not inherited or acquired as a claim, but something to be improved upon the grown into through constant practice and prayer. Subsequently, the spiritual journey of Newman serves as an amazing testimony to the fact that only an ardent search for the truth and an earnest desire to apply the result of that search to the service of the Church can make it really authentic and real. It was indeed Newman's passionate contemplation of truth, as John Paul II remarked, that enabled him to see Christ as the light at the heart of every kind of darkness, and even now continue to inspire millions all over the world to pray along with him in one single voice, lead kindly light. In fact, the very words coined by the great seeker of truth to be written on his own tombstone, ex hombris et imgibus veritatem, from shadows and images into truth, summarizes not only his life, which was a relentless search, but also aptly declares that John Henry Newman belongs to every time. His feast is celebrated on 9th October, the day when he was received into the Catholic Church. Thank you.